This is called crossing path while LAPD is flying and amplifying helicopter activity. This is both demonic and terrorizing. That's federal, civil, and criminal prosecution, and they're going to federal prison. P.O.C. Thank you. And it's the same thing with them, audible activity creation. When you're dealing with the demonic, same thing with them. Understand this is surrounding conduct. While LAPD is amplifying helicopter activity, everybody's going to federal prison that lives here. Everybody's going to federal prison that I just documented while the same elements of monitoring are underway. Carla Lopez is already handled. He's a third-party group stalker working for a third-party company, systematically engaging in what is criminal facilitation at an intolerable degree, and is going to federal prison, and so are they. These are psychopaths on one issue, and the entities engaging in the same conduct of amplifying helicopter activity. Hi.
Hi, how you doing? Are we blocking you?
No, I was wondering what's going on.
I'm moving.
Oh, I don't think I've ever met you before then.
I don't live here. My friend Bennett lives up in the
Oh, okay. I know the name Bennett. Okay, I was like, you do not look familiar.
No, Bennett and Alexis live apartment 6, I think. And I'm getting their couch from them.
Oh, okay.
And so I came over. They're actually not here right now, but they gave me a key for the day.
I was thinking that do you know how long it's going to take them?
This is the last stop.
Oh,
so
okay.
they just need to load it in, then
Okay.
we'll be out of here hopefully
That's fine.
in 5-10 minutes.
Okay, that's fine. I was going to say, because I was thinking, where else can they park? Because they're kind of obstructing, but that's fine if you're about to leave.
Okay.
It's fine.
Great.
Thank you very much.
So much. Yeah.
No problem. Have a good one.
You too.
That's P.O.C. Bennett Gosker, who's done with the medical profession. Him and his roommate, Alexis Gutierrez, they're both done with the medical profession. Documented terrorists. They're violent sex offenders. I do not have any knowledge of them having any minor children. They are acting pursuant to the state's criminal system, living at a crime scene. Literally documented that demon group stalking into the light source that was on this side of my person as I documented him crossing path after engaging in surveillance in the laundry room. And the light source was over me right here. This was at approximately 9 in the morning. And then I used what was juxtaposing and understanding, illustrating for you vividly what is both demonic activity and terrorism, while an entity maliciously acts just like you see truck movers engaging, and Bennett Gosker's friend, while they're group stalking and terrorizing somebody else, engaging in what is an outward activity as though it's separate. That's revealing mental illness. This is psychopathic conduct. Okay, and on this side of the sidewalk at 4 in the evening, you saw Sarah Chambliss while I stood at the same position. The light source was here, 9 o'clock, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 7 hours later, and the light source was on this side of my person right here, and you saw Sarah Chambliss's shadow while she was walking under that light source, which is documented group stalking in concert with the state that's engaged in hovering and highly corroborating and damning evidence against the people of the state who are engaged in group stalking with that corrupt government. I showed you that approximately maybe one and a half weeks ago, which is, again, evidence that's not forgotten while the entity wants to cover up the light source in the morning and engage in the identical pattern of stalking with the people. Being surrounded by fetters, smart janitorial, and truck movers, while the entity amplifies helicopter activity. Everybody just saw us going to federal prison. Those company names and the ordinary target individual, you don't have to get in their face. You don't have to ask them you can document the federal. They will produce the information. I'll put it that way. They're going to produce it, and they can make a decision because somebody's going to federal prison. But I got all their images. They're going to federal prison. All right? That's the intolerable threat. 11:36 as I swipe my screen. 8GTX 496, 8GTX 496, using his puppy as a means of loitering in the path while he's monitoring in concert with Carol Lee, who's engaged in surveillance in her car, revealing very serious mental illness. She engages in surveillance just like the people of the state. They engage in this lying in wait conduct, strategic placement in the path so that they are acting in concert with the entity that uses helicopters and airplanes, and also with regard to real-time knowledge of what you're doing even while you're inside of a building. This includes while your panties are down, while you're physically indisposed, okay? And then you're also understanding the sexual violence that you're subject to even when you're not aware that you're being monitored. So you may be in a relationship with a third party, or if you're dating an officer, a demon-possessed group stalker that's part of a law enforcement agency, you're dating a state actor. Nonetheless, you're dating a group stalker who's a demon-possessed person, and your sexual, relations with that person is public information, and that's a sex offense as well. And all the entity is invading your privacy. Imagine the engineer light on your ceiling while you're engaged in sexual relations with a state actor, with a third party. That is published information which you did not consent to. You don't have any knowledge to that, and that's the government that's engaged in an ongoing sex offense. Those are the criminal acts that are relevant and reasonably to result from what is an entity keeping you under surveillance unbeknownst to you. All right, and it is something that the demon-possessed entity is gratified for. This is why Dominic Choi is going to be removed, summarily removed from his position. This is why the Los Angeles Police Department is going to be disbanded. You're understanding what is going to be recognized under federal law. The sex offender that is the public entity engaged in state surveillance, federal group stalking and monitoring. The sex offender that are the people of the state that are acting in concert with that corrupt government to keep you under surveillance and violate every aspect of your life. Unfathomable levels of invasion of privacy and sexual violence by the entity. Group stalkers in FedEx vehicles, group stalkers coming and making deliveries, group stalkers coming in and delivering the mail, delivering packages, and they're all a part of what is supposed to be your private life. Demons maliciously acting, psychopaths wanting to outwardly look like they're doing something else. And they're all together connected through the directed light, through the stalking by the state, and through the engineered light that coexists with their driving. They're just driving around. No, those are demons that are engaging in stalking the path with engineered light. And that's what connects them all. And they're all going to be prosecuted as violent sex offenders that they are. It is currently 11:38 a.m. while you're listening to Amplified Audible Activity by Waste Management. That company whose headquarters I've already documented. They are documented engaging in what is systematic terrorism, and the company in this region is going to be prosecuted. They're going to produce the ongoing maintenance of, while FedEx crosses path again, they're going to produce the information of who was present. That's going to be part of the federal prosecution. It's not going to be a mystery. And while the entity is acting with impunity now, on that side of federal prosecution, when faces are going to provide answers to questions, and when they're going to serve what are real consequences, you're going to remember this impunity that's illustrated through that audible activity creation in concert with LAPD. This is the same entity, by the way, Waste Management, documented engaged in what is federal group stalking and monitoring while engaging in an assault and battery. This is a demon that's hurrying up to cross path. That's what this is. She's going to federal prison. That's a psychopath, and that's a demon. All right, this is P.O.C. She's crossing path engaged in federal stalking while the entity that's license 1692474, sanitation, that's City of LA. City of LA, sanitation, 1602474. P.O.C. They're monitoring, and she's going to federal prison. Let me get her license plate. She's hurrying up, running to try to get ahead of me, not only to engage in monitoring, in order to engage in moving her car, 8 NAS 503, a documented group stalker on the grounds of Alvarado Gardens. That's the City of LA engaged in the elements of monitoring. The City of LA engaged in what is terrorism, using a dumpster truck as a means of light activity, crossing path at the specific environment. Amplification occurs with simultaneity to the damning evidence that I utter as I utter it. That's the demonic feature while an entity is monitoring your documentation. This third party engaged in group stalking with LAPD is stalking in the path using her brake lights. This is a demon, a white-faced demon. Satan doesn't have a race, okay? 7TWD156, she's going to federal prison. And her demon-possessed friend, Bennett Gossaker, is done with the medical profession. He's got the same condition. He's engaged in the same criminal conduct. Living at a crime scene is going to result in what is removal from the medical field. She's crossing path, light activity, LAPD is flying over. She's going to federal prison. She is going to federal prison. And that City of LA that's using a dumpster truck to engage in the same exact demonic pattern. This is the same entity that engaged in assault and battery. 9KTB 555. That's an old white man who's going to federal prison. He's going to federal prison, crossing path, amplified audible activity, LAPD getting a whole bunch of people in trouble. But it's not unjust, because this is what they signed up for when they engaged in criminal surveillance as an entity. As you encounter the elements, there's legal significance to those elements. Where and how it's happening, when it's happening, is legally relevant as well. And everybody's picking and choosing their fate. You want to monitor and group stalk and facilitate? Then you go to federal prison. 8 RUW 765 federal prison. They're monitoring with LAPD. That's light activity relevant positioning. And you're going to civilly and criminally prosecute FedEx distributors. And again, they've been here engaged in the P.O.C. I'm referencing these companies while LAPD's flying laps over the property. That's, again, relevant to the companies that are going to be prosecuted, likely to not survive when I drain their pockets, and they're going to federal prison. This is audible activity, relevant positioning. Federal stalking on the venue of the internet. Go ahead. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, that's the pattern of conduct, and that's demonic activity. Truck Movers is engaged in state surveillance. Okay, it doesn't deserve to survive after I drain its pockets. P.O.C. They're monitoring with traffic, which is what you saw FedEx engaging in. These demons are repeatedly crossing path, and they're also as thirsty as they are engaged in sexual violence with knowledge of when your panties are down, and they show that ongoing determination to continue to engage in that sexual violence. That's shared by Carla Lopez, who's group stalking. That's shared by speaker companies, a group stalker. Okay, P.O.C. It is currently 11:42 a.m.